Ladies and gentlemen, SideStrafe here with another episode of the Strafing Run. It has, of course, been a while since I've created one of these shows or episodes. And generally, they're here to keep you up to date with what's going on in the channel or with myself, what games I'm playing, what games I'm looking at playing, so on and so forth. But there hasn't been a whole lot of news, and I've been keeping most people up to date on the live stream. I've been thinking about making the Strafing Run into some sort of podcast, perhaps, that happens live on twitch.tv/SideStrafe, and then maybe uploading the archive for those of you that aren't able to attend. So that's one idea. But anyways, you can see that we've got some Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls here, playing through Act 1 at the moment as the new Crusader class. I never got to play, or excuse me, I never got to finish the game, the core game of Diablo 3, because I was turned off by the fact that there was a real money auction house. And when my friend Rui told me about how horrible it was, I took his word for it, knowing how much of a Diablo fan he was, and just stopped playing. I knew that I didn't want to run into the same problems he was seeing, so I just gave up on it. Then, you know, Blizzard apparently got their act together and decided to make the Loot 2.0 system, dump the auction house. Reaper of Souls turned everything around, and apparently this game is what it should have been. And I really thought that I couldn't even play isometric view games anymore, and I've been enjoying this. It really does truly feel like a successor to Diablo 2, at least in my opinion. You know, it's missing a lot of the randomly generated world stuff, but honestly, it just feels really fantastic. Everything seems to work. There's a great level of polish. It's definitely satisfying the loot whore within me. You're going around hacking and slashing. There's loot dropping everywhere. I love it. You got new gear every couple of minutes, and that's what Diablo was back in the day. And that's, I think, what people wanted. So for me, this is just kind of a kick back and relax game. You know, it's not something that I take too seriously. I'm not a metagamer. I'm not trying to find the best skill builds. I really don't care that much. You might be watching this as a Diablo expert and thinking, well, why didn't you go with this ability or this skill? Why aren't you using Smite or I don't know what? And I'm just going to tell you that I don't really care. It's nothing personal or anything. I just don't. I just want to have fun with it. I pick the abilities that look cool or sound fun to me. I like to see the different types of animation. I like using melee attacks. I don't really want to throw hammers at people. You know, it's just whatever. And that might give me less damage, but it's just fun to me, and I just don't care. So I think you have to have games like that in your life. You have to have games that just let you relax and breathe a little bit. You don't want to raise your blood pressure over a video game. And sometimes, as much as I love my World of Tanks and War Thunder and these types of games, you get frustrated. It's usually because you're having to rely on another team, but mostly it's just time to take a break, have a day off. I even installed Hearthstone, believe it or not. Didn't think that I would be into that. My friends didn't think I would be into that. I'd been watching some people play it here and there, and it looked fun. I'd never played a card game like that before. I never played Magic or any of those other titles, and I didn't know if I'd be any good at it, but I saw it there in my battle.net list, and I was like, oh, it's out now. It's not beta anymore. I downloaded it, tried it out, played the tutorials against the innkeepers and whatever. Got more confident, played some real people, had some fun, played a couple games against Bombadil, got him into it. He's now addicted to it. It's just a lot of fun. It can be frustrating at times dealing with certain decks or bad hands, but generally it puts a smile on my face, and it allows me to just sit back and breathe and relax and just enjoy it. And when you play people, when you go into play mode and it match makes you against somebody, generally it does feel like it does a good job. I feel like I'm playing something of my skill level, and it does seem to match the decks pretty good. There are some times, or there have been some occasions where I've played people that seem like they've got these crazy decks, and there doesn't feel like there's much that I can do. I don't know a whole lot about the game, but I know some people are probably into the meta where they're looking up builds and the best decks, and they're trying to get the best cards, and they might be spending a lot of money on cards. And I don't really think that that really puts you at a huge disadvantage, because, again, I think the matchmaker is so good that it sets you up against people that are close to your skill level or how your cards are set up. You might have some problems if you're fighting a friend that is, pretty good at the game or something. But generally, I've had a pretty good time. I think my win-to-loss ratio is somewhat even though it doesn't actually show you your losses, I don't think. I still managed to have a pretty good time. And again, not really something that I would have on the channel, but as far as live stream material, anything goes, so you never know. Although I'm not sure that I want the added pressure of an audience watching me mess up at Hearthstone, so you never know. Although sometimes the viewers are helpful, and you guys tell me what to do, so I'm sure that you would let me know what cards to play. Although it's harder with that game because there's such a delay when you live stream that it wouldn't be instantaneous, so it would not be easy. But you never know. Anyways, just kind of been reading up on some old Warcraft lore lately. I've been really fascinated with the world of Warcraft. Not necessarily the game, but the actual world, the universe behind it. It's been a Blizzard weekend, really. And it's been kind of nice because I miss their games, to be honest. I grew up with Warcraft 1, Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, and I played all of them, so when WoW came out, it was nice to be able to see the places that I had fought in full 3D. It was just mind-blowing, and I think that's what WoW was to me. Again, it wasn't about this metagame or raiding or necessarily getting the best gear. It was always about exploring and checking out the areas that I had fought in the strategy games. And to see them change in Cataclysm and stuff, in a way it was kind of sad because you almost feel like this was my home. I used to hang out in this inn or whatever, now it's gone, and it's weird, and I'm glad that I was at least a part of it, and I am interested in taking a look at the new player models that they're creating within the Warlords of Draenor expansion. I think that it's about time. I kind of wish that they would still spend some time retexturing the old world, because they did add a lot of new stuff in Cataclysm, fixed up a bunch of areas, but there are still some zones that still have that old 2004 texture set. And I know it's a lot of work, but I wish that that would be something that they could work on over time as well. Who knows, maybe if this game continues on as it has, then it's just something that's on the list of fixes. But beyond that, in other news, something outside of the world of Blizzard gaming, I suppose we can talk about World of Tanks a little bit. 9.0 beta, I think, releases Tuesday. That's what I saw in the news, so looking forward to that. I think they're still working on historical battles. They've been playing with a bunch of different modes. One thing that I'm kind of cringing about, I heard that they're adding some sort of respawn mechanic to historical battles for light tanks to force them to go out and scout. I don't know if that's legit. I saw it in a developer video interview type thing, so I didn't see that on a test server yet. Maybe it's in and I didn't notice it, but I think the last few matches I played, there weren't really any light tanks to speak of anyway. So I don't know. Again, I don't usually like respawn in those types of games, and it would be the first time that World of Tanks has allowed any type of respawning. But I don't know. We'll have to see. I think they're worried about it becoming a camping game. Apparently they had experimented with removing hit points from historical battles where you had to destroy the modules and kill the crew. I guess their testers didn't enjoy this. I think it was something that was available on Super Test and not actually public test, because I don't recall seeing or hearing about it. And if it was there, I guess I just wasn't on at the time. But it does seem like it would be something that would interest me and a few other people, but I guess that their testers are just kind of wanting to play Mario Kart with tanks instead, so it is what it is. So, the game isn't really designed to handle that kind of gameplay, so they would have to probably do a lot more programming to get it to work properly. They did, however, say, or somebody said in a different interview, there was a question asked about having a hardcore mode in World of Tanks, and they said that they had thought about it. It is something that does get brought up once in a while, but it's not anything that's a priority. It's very low on their lists of things to do, so we wouldn't see it for some time, nor would they know when it would ever happen, so don't count on it being anytime soon. But hey, it is nice to at least know that they are thinking about it. Let's hope that one day it becomes reality. Keeping an eye on War Thunder Ground Forces, of course. They've added some wheeled vehicles to the game, which is definitely something different, but I would like that they finish producing the tanks first before they move on to anything else. Get the list of vehicles completed that they've promised, because that's the biggest issue I think a developer has, is you fix your broken vehicles before you add new ones, okay? We know that Gaijin does not do that because we've looked at the history of their development of War Thunder Air Forces. They keep putting in extra planes before they fix the old ones. Well, that's going to be the same problem that they have with tanks, let's face it. So I don't know where this development's going to go at this point. Part of me is discouraged, but I'm going to continue to keep an eye on it. So beyond that, actually looking forward to some Dark Souls 2 on the PC this month, but there's obviously been some complaints in regards to what was shown in footage during E3 and what we're being given now. Console obviously missing a lot of new lighting effects and techniques, and apparently the PC version will also not have those. PC version is going to get 1080p 60 frames and a bunch of other options, but we're not getting the fancy lighting effects that they showed off in the demos. And From Software apparently said, oh, you know, we couldn't maintain a playable frame rate. Well, that was on console. I'm sure you could do it on PC, but nonetheless, it's not there, and maybe we'll have to wait for a mod. Remember back when Dark Souls came out on PC, it was only 720p 30 frames. In 24 hours, one user gave us 1080p and 60 frames, literally within 24 hours. And that's kind of sad. And beyond that, there's been people that have released high-resolution texture packs to improve Dark Souls. So, hey, once again, I guess we can't rely on a developer, so we're going to have to rely on modders. It's too bad that they don't get a bit of the Steam purchase price, though. A different bit of news, I actually got to do some voiceover work for a game called Warlock 2 The Exiled, and I've always wanted to do voiceover in video games, and this was hopefully just the first step. A lot of fun doing it. I got to do 4 different unit voices, and I say unit because Warlock 2 is a strategy game, kind of like Civilization, except it's way more high fantasy and a bit more lighthearted. But I'm 4 of the units in the game. I've played a little bit, and I only got to see one of the characters I did, so I don't know how to get the other ones. I generally don't play games like that, but if you're into it, if you like the first Warlock, from what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing, you're definitely going to love the sequel. I'll have a link to it in Steam if you're interested in checking that out, and I might even live stream it, maybe get some of you to help me out with the title, because I really just have no idea what I'm doing in it. On top of that, I got to do another voice in a new Machinima project called Davion Blues. I'll have a link in the description below. It's going to take you to the No Guts, No Galaxy channel. It does feature MechWarrior Online, but let me tell you this right now, ladies and gentlemen, even if you're not into MechWarrior, go check it out. It's just fun to watch. It's just really neat, and I had a lot of fun doing the voice for that character as well. It's more so my natural voice, but it was nice to just kind of throw some passion and intensity into it, and I really hope that you guys just enjoy the work that the rest of the team put into it. The guys working on the footage and the editing and all the scripting and the writing and all that stuff, they put so much into it. I only did the voice, so I did the easy part. Everybody else that did the filming and the editing and all that just really did a great job putting everything together, and it's a continued series, so they're working on episode 2. And if you want to follow it, you know, just make sure to just sub to the channel, or at least check back with them. I'll, of course, post links on Twitter and Facebook every time they release a new episode, because I really, really love doing voiceover work, and I hope this is just the beginning for me. I really want to do some more, and I think that if you guys enjoy that kind of stuff, then there's more to come. Oh, and completely out of the blue, apparently I'm going to be purchasing a Nintendo Wii U soon because, well, Mario Kart 8 is coming out next month, and I love Mario Kart. You guys have no idea. I have to play that game. So I told my friends, I said, look, there's only one game that's really going to make me buy that system, and it's Mario Kart. And, well, here it is. You might even see some footage for it on the channel, or maybe even on the live stream, just because I love that game so much that I'll probably want to share it. And it's definitely a game where you just don't give a frack about anything. It's about racing and taking out your friends. It can be frustrating, but more often than not, it's just a lot of fun. There are rumors that the game does run at 1080p and 60 frames. I hope that that's true. If anything, worst case scenario, it's going to be 720p 60, but I would love to see that thing in 1080. A lot of the screenshots have been lower res, and some of the video I think that's been out, mostly at 720p. If they can pull off 1080, that'll be fantastic. I know the Wii U is technically more powerful than an Xbox 360, but how much more, I have no idea. There's a lot of crazy, nice visuals in the game. The texture resolution and the shader effects that they've got going on in it make it look really nice. So I don't know if they're going to be able to push it beyond the 720 resolution, but I'm hoping that they will be able to. And finally, for those of you that had signed up for the Duckster World of Tanks Portal relaunch contest, the winners had been announced some time ago and never claimed their prizes. So they've gone ahead and announced some new winners, which can be found on the Duckster website. You can also go to my Duckster profile under SideStrafe and see the list there with instructions to message Duckster Queen to claim. Anyways, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I really want to thank each and every one of you for joining me on a regular basis. Make sure to stay tuned via the channel, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, Duckster, everything, everywhere, all of the above. Links in the description below. I will definitely see you on the next one.